Hello, guys, and welcome to another One Stop Wrestling podcast. I am your host, Alex, and this week I am joined by Rohit and Alfonso. Gentlemen, how are you both this evening?
Doing good, thank you. And to Alfonso, happy Independence Day.
Thank you very much. I hope aliens don't come and get us today, but I think everything will be fine. And maybe I will eat some national dish that is called pupusas. That is it's like a tortilla with
Okay.
cheese and beans.
The cheese and beans, I love that in general, so I
That's
might
a
have to check that out at some point if we can find it
that's a good
here.
combination.
Try
That is.
try try and go find pupusas because I think there's a Salvadorian guy anywhere in the world, so maybe you can find him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'll keep my eyes on that if I can have a look.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Right. So this week we're going to be talking about Impact Wrestling. They had their 1,000th show last night on the day of recording. We're recording on Friday the 15th, and huge achievement for Impact to get to 1,000 shows.
Yep.
Was a big show. We had the return of Team 3D, better known as the Dudley Boys, back in WWE. The Beautiful People, Awesome Kong, Chris Sabin won his record 10th X Division Championship.
Yep.
So it was a pretty big show all round, really. So today, myself, Rohit, and Alfonso are gonna give our three favorite Impact wrestlers. They can be our personal favorites, or three wrestlers that we think were sort of the most important for Impact in their history and what kind of status they have in the company. Impact were originally TNA. They had a partnership with NWA. They started back in 2002, formed by Jeff and Jerry Jarrett. And they were WWE's biggest competitors as such, really, up until the formation of AEW, really. Certainly in the sort of mid to late 2000s, they really took off and became a really, really good alternative. Some great
Yeah.
superstars. They had their X division, which is really, really acclaimed. The Knockouts division, similarly so.
Yeah, and a lot of names from like the generations of TNA/Impact have been seen elsewhere around the world. Right now, LA Knight, Eli Drake and Impact, like one of their biggest stars, and that's where he cut his teeth after being released from WWE Developmental, and look where he is now.
Absolutely, a lot of superstars started off in TNA/Impact
Yeah.
and went on to do great things. And we'll probably talk about some of those today.
Hmm.
They went through a few rough patches here and there.
For
Certainly
sure.
the 2010 era when it was Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, and a lot of the old timers coming in.
Yeah.
It wasn't really the best. They had financial issues as
Oh yeah,
well, but
that's true.
they were acquired in 2017 by a company called Anthem, and since then, really, they've been doing some pretty decent stuff. Certainly, recently, last few years, Impact has
Yeah.
been a very well booked show, I have to say.
Yeah, Van Don Callis, Savitri, and then now Scott D'Amore, like pretty much the head honcho, like everything in terms of the wrestling side at least. They've been knocking out of the park, really solid shows, easy digestible, and people complain about a lot of wrestling. People complain how NXT isn't that good, Collision isn't that good, yada yada yada. Yes, people want to watch the main big ones like Dynamite, Raw, and SmackDown. But if you got time and you keep complaining about NXT or Collision or the smaller shows like that, Ring of Honor too, watch Impact. Put your time into Impact. Have a look, see if you like that. So I do think they're putting out a good product. A B show or like a solid alternative to the B shows, and you find those are a waste of time. I think Impact is worth checking out, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very well booked show recently. It's like you said, easy
Mhm.
to watch. They don't
Yeah.
have that sort of grandeur about them with their arenas and things like that, but
Hmm.
really, really, really solid wrestling show
Yeah,
each and every
hundred
week.
percent, 100%. Yeah,
I
So Yeah, we'll get straight into it. And I'm going to go first this week because I've got my number one pick is someone that I believe you two may have chose as well. It's someone that I believe a lot of people may have chosen, having given this category. And I want to get in there ahead of Alfonso because we do seem to have the same similar ideas and thoughts about what is our favourite. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to kick straight off
Go for
with
it.
the phenomenal AJ Styles.
I don't have AJ Styles in my list.
Wow. Well, I should have let you go first then, shouldn't I?
I have though.
Oh, Rohit this time.
But it's fine. Like I can respect it. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's difficult. It's difficult not to put him in
Yeah.
this list. He's one of my favorite wrestlers anyway, regardless of what company he's worked for. We did I think myself, Alfonso, and Craig did a show on our favorite wrestlers that will be coming to YouTube soon. So check that one out. But yeah, AJ Styles. He really was. He's probably like Mr. TNA if you think about it.
Yeah.
When they
For a
first
long time.
really got going, he was the guy that really people had their eyes on with his incredible in-ring ability. Some of his matches really stood out. I know he had some great matches with Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe.
I think that's it, that he was the best wrestler in the whole world for a long time because the promos and the quality of the TV show wasn't great, but his matches were always something to look for. And
he really was one of the top stars in terms of in-ring quality anywhere in the world, really.
Still is, I think.
And he still is really. He's you know, for a good 15 years, I'd say he's probably been the best, the most consistent in-ring performer over the last 15, 20 years for sure. And like some of his accolades in TNA just, you know, speak for themselves really. You know, he's a 5-time world champion. He's the first Triple Crown champion, the first Grand Slam champion. Countless great matches, great feuds. He's, you know, a few dodgy things here and there, but
for sure.
In general, AJ really sort of, you know, put TNA on the map in terms of this is a great wrestling show to watch.
Yeah.
Come and watch some great matches. Watch AJ Styles.
Yeah. And I agree because with my sort of list, like obviously if I go next, I also have AJ Styles as one of my 3. And
go for it, Rohit.
In terms of like what I've done is not just wrestlers that I really like, but also like a mix of like how important or significant contribution they have done to the company. And it was tricky, but with AJ Styles, it was a no-brainer. Like again, you listed out some of his accolades, what he's done for a company, and no matter how bad Impact or TNA got in that like later 2010 run or some of the other down periods, as long as he was there, people like, I just watch Impact for AJ Styles. People have said that so many times. AJ Styles is the reason I watch Impact. And I feel like that just speaks for himself. And it's really the house that AJ Styles built. And that's where the tagline came. So like, you know, when he says on Raw or SmackDown, this is the house that belongs to AJ Styles, whatever. That's where it came from because he built Impact pretty much, and I feel like that's like a major reason for his like success, really. And and there was a reason why non-Impact fans or just like casual viewers were always comparing him to the likes of like when he came up with dream matches. AJ versus Shawn Michaels, AJ versus Randy Orton, because those two, at least by like the WWE guys as well as like the people in the locker room in the WWE, were considered like natural in-ring workers that had that something that couldn't be taught, that was just natural and amazing to watch and amazing to work with. And many people thought AJ had the same thing. So,
but I think that's the greatest thing ever, that he came to the WWE.
Yeah.
And
he did.
He had some great matches, and apparently he's going to have a great match with Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it seems like unfortunately it's in Saudi Arabia, but we won't get into that.
I mean, his first year in WWE was one of the best first years I can remember. He just carried on where he left off in TNA in New Japan, really. Just amazing matches. He won the WWE title within 6 months, and he was a top star. And you know.
Really surprised me how like because you gotta remember Vince was still around swinging his weight a lot, and I'm surprised like I thought Vince is gonna be like, who's this guy? But he's a company guy, and again, like whichever company work with, they always treat him with respect, and he treated him back, and his head down, constant work, and results speak for himself. And I'm honestly surprised he's one of the few guys that got to come into an era where skipping NXT, where people are like, yeah, you have to go through NXT now to get when you come to WWE, but he skipped through that and they've done well with him really, and I can't really complain. Sure, I do miss New Japan AJ because it was just something else. I felt like, but I'm glad that they treated him right at least. That's
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he was just that good, really. I
yeah,
don't think you can, he's flawless in the ring, really. It's very rare you'll see a bad
yeah,
AJ Styles match.
he
yeah.
even
That's
he even
true.
had a match with Undertaker, the cinematic match. So I
Yeah,
think that's like a huge
that's
honor,
yeah,
and that speaks
Undertaker
a lot.
wanted to work with him too because he
yeah,
knew how good he was in the
yeah.
ring.
He said like in his generation, many people called him that generation's Shawn Michaels. So that really probably like influenced him and thinks, you know what, if that's true, let me see. And he must have at least agreed to because otherwise he wouldn't have picked
Yeah, exactly,
his
exactly.
last major match, I could say, or one of his last major matches.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think
So
Well, obviously Rohit and I we've both gone for AJ. I think he's a very obvious choice, isn't he?
yeah.
Really. Yeah. So Alfonso, give us your first choice then.
Okay, first of all, I have to come clean.
Hmm.
I don't watch a
Sure.
lot of TNA. I haven't watched a lot of TNA. I was
Okay.
never a TNA guy. I only watch few shows, or I go back and watch things that I find interesting. Some AJ matches I have gone back and watch. Some Christopher Daniel matches I have go back and watch to understand a little bit where this guy came from. But to be
Right.
honest, I don't see a lot of TNA. The first time I saw TNA, and I'm going with this guy, is Christian Cage. For me,
Right.
seeing Christian in TNA the huge was crazy for me. Like I couldn't understand in my little mind, like how the hell did Christian end up in TNA? And I used to love Christian in TNA, and I love like the run he's having right now as a heel in AEW. And I think Christian was such a good worker that he's amazing. I mean, what he did in WWE, then going to TNA, he had an amazing run. Then he go back to AEW, and now he's having, I think, the best run of his life. And for me, Christian Cage, with the whole opera thing, Christian, I think it was, I think it was amazing. I think it was amazing. So my first guy is
Yeah.
Christian Cage because that's the guy that made me watch TNA.
Yeah, it was an odd departure really because he was just
Yeah.
getting steam in the main event scene really in
Exactly.
WWE, and he could have just stayed there and become a world champion, but
I feel like I don't know if that would have ever happened at that point because I felt like yeah, he was getting steam, but I feel like there was some backstage politics I think that probably held him back,
The
and that's
blue
probably why
dot.
his decision. Yeah, whatever it was, whatever it was, I think he felt like he may have needed to do something else, and I was like watching Impact Weekly around that time, just after he came back like to Impact, and honestly, I felt like that's like he was booked right. He was like treated well, and he was just incredible. And I feel like if AEW like book smart and like maybe on Collision in particular, because there's like a different show kind of than Dynamite, they go all in on Christian after like him and Luchasaurus like drop the TNT title and have that storyline resolved. If they go for mega heel main event Christian, I think Christian as like AEW world champion could be fireworks. I feel like.
Let's remember that Daniel Bryan also lost his father. So you have there also
and
Yeah.
we know Christian likes a dead dad, doesn't he?
exactly.
I seen on the internet where the rumors of Edge going to AEW and
I,
apparently Edge claimed that he never seen his father and you have Christian just smiling in the background. I've seen those internet memes.
I think it's one of the best memes right now. I love it. Like
Yeah.
I really love it.
For sure. For sure. Christian's a good shout, yeah.
Yeah, good pick. Yeah, he won the world title a few times, didn't he, in TNA?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. One of my favorites as well. Again, he's one of those sort of all-round guys. He just kind of had everything, didn't he? Great promo, great heel, great baby face, solid in the ring. Yeah, good choice, Alfonso.
Thank you.
Right, I'll go first. I'll go first again for the second round. So my second pick is the Monster Abyss.
Good pick. Good pick.
Yeah, he was a TNA original, really.
Yeah.
One of the longest serving guys they've ever had, really. There right from the start. Again, in terms of accolades, he won the World Championship. He won, for some reason, he won the X Division Championship. I think he was the heaviest winner of that ever. But
I think so, yeah. But it's
yeah,
not about weight limits, it's about no limits.
yeah. But it was really his storylines that really got me hooked. Again, like Alfonso, I didn't really watch a hell of a lot of TNA, but I did watch enough. And
Yeah.
along with AJ, Abyss was one of those guys that hooked me into the product in the sort of mid 2000s. I mean, his matches were brutal. He was almost like the Mick Foley of TNA. Some of his brutal,
100%.
hardcore matches. He had like barbed wire massacre matches where the ring was covered in the ropes or barbed wire. With Sabu.
Judas
he had
Macias as well, yeah.
Yeah, like Doomsday Chamber matches, 10,000 thumbtack matches, like all of the hardcore matches you can think of. Abyss was in them.
Yeah. It was like the Kane, the Mick Foley, almost.
Yeah, in terms of his character, he was very much like Kane, wasn't he? Because he had the mask. He rarely talked. He was just this monster that went around and destroyed people. And then he had his relationship with James Mitchell, who was his manager for a long while. Who it was quite similar to a like a Paul Bearer and Kane dynamic. That one.
Yeah. 100%. And I feel like slightly towards the end of his run, like towards the latter year, he added a bit more, like I would say, like maybe like a little bit of a Raven kind of feel, like a bit more, like a little bit more talking, a little bit more like visual, and then like being actually involved. But he still kept to his characters, really. Yeah.
And he did some great character work when he had the split personality angle, when he sort of appeared as himself, and then
that was his brother.
I think that's the best description.
Sort of humor and comedy to his repertoire, and it was like it showed how talented he was, really, that he could do all that after spending years of being Abyss.
Yeah, and it made me happy to see him like make that one-off appearance on screen with AJ on SmackDown. I think it was at one point.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Pretty cool. That was pretty cool back as well.
I think Abyss showed what Kane showed when he did Team Hell No with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
that those guys were a character, but they were so talented that they can do like comedy also on the side. And I think the versatility, that's a hard word in English.
Versatility.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
I think that shows that, and I think in a world when you can create these amazing characters and then do comedy and they will go back to be a monster and have all these personalities, I think that was amazing.
What's the Spanish word for versatility?
Well, that's the thing. I don't remember right now in Spanish.
Okay, fair enough.
Don't confuse him, Rohit. Don't. He'll start doing this podcast in Spanish.
Yeah, we're going to do it in Spanish next time.
So yeah, Abyss is my second pick. Rohit, what is your second pick?
Yeah, I made, like, you'll see a pattern in a second, but when I get to my third choice as well. But Abyss is a good shout, and he just missed out, I felt like. But my second pick is Gail Kim.
Oh, that's my third pick. You've stolen my thunder this week.
Fair enough.
This one wasn't me.
yeah. But yeah, I think I just had to go with Gail Kim. Like, what she's done, like literally, because she was there sticking it out, being a manager, being on the roster, that's basically like one of the triggers why they're like, we need to build a women's division around her and make a women's division. And they believed in women's wrestling way before WWE gave them like a proper chance again
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
in the modern era. And just to see her matches with like ODB, Awesome Kong, the Beautiful People, and like everything she's done, even what she's doing now backstage, being an ambassador, being like in charge of the Knockouts division, and everything she's done in her career. And like she's been everywhere. She's been in WWE, of course. Not never really got the ball really, and it's, like if she was in there now, I think she'd be like amazing, but it wasn't meant to be. But she made a niche. She made a thing in Impact Wrestling, and that's really the reason that like the women in Impact Wrestling have been so successful. Has had a great like been booked well, and just a great show to watch women's wrestling on as well, especially in the West where like for a long time women's wrestling was like the toilet break or not worth watching, and really like apart from had a lot of like intergender matches as well as women's wrestling. And obviously in Japan, uh, women's wrestling wasn't really a thing. It was like it's just there to like oh wow, cool. There's some cool, pretty ladies, and that's it. That's what it was for a long ass time, really.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
She's my third pick. I may as well start talking about her now.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Again, like you said, Rohit, TNA really made their knockouts division something to watch, something that was worth watching every week. Because, like you said, in America, it wasn't really a thing that women just got sent out there to look pretty, and the knockouts division was great, and it was really spearheaded by Gail Kim. She was the first knockouts champion. She is still the record-setting. I think it's seven time knockouts champion. Yeah, and it was really the first feud with Awesome Kong that really got me thinking. This is special. This is something really worth watching. They had an amazing feud. Kim played this great babyface character, your traditional sort of fiery babyface that never gave up, and Kong was the great foil to her, being this big monster heel, and they just had great chemistry. They worked perfectly with each other, and that feud kind of encapsulates really how great the knockouts division was, and it started with Gail Kim, really.
Yeah, and even before that feud, she had a great feud before like the division was established. Jackie Moore that came in as well, so Jacqueline is also known. So that was a great feud as well. But it wasn't for a title. There wasn't really a women's division at that time. It was just a couple of women on the roster, mostly managers or backstage personalities, or just eye candy really. Apart from Gail Kim, when she comes out with the wrestlers, would do some moves and stuff. She could actually wrestle, but there was no one there to wrestle with. And the fact that she persevered and stayed with the company, and then look what's happened now. It's a testament to her really, and how important she was. I feel like not just for Impact, but for women's wrestling as a whole.
Yeah, I completely agree. She was a real pioneer for women's wrestling in the late 2000s, and did some amazing stuff with the knockouts division. And there's a reason why she was the first female inducted into the TNA Impact Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Right. I've lost track of where we are now, because I've just given my third pick.
Alfonso's second.
Give his second pick, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think going with second pick. And again, I don't see a lot of TNA, but the next time I saw TNA and something special happened was the first time I do a spit take as an adult, and I was watching Matt Hardy in the Ultimate Deletion match. For me, that match is one of the shittiest, funniest, weirdest match ever. I don't know how to describe it, because I think it's so bad it's good, but also it's so good it's bad. I don't know how to describe it, to be honest. But I remember watching that match and just laughing my ass off, thinking, oh my god, this is what he's doing, and he doesn't care. Like him talking with his father or the drone, the fucking giraffe, and things like that. Creating a lore in wrestling was something that we didn't know about. Like
Yeah.
him, like for me, it's a creative genius that is not wrestling what Matt Hardy did with the Ultimate Deletion match, and it's weird. But for me, the Hardy Boys, even though that match against Sting with Jeff Hardy, we don't speak about that one. But uh, for me, that was the other time that I was like, okay, TNA is doing something different. TNA is doing something fun. I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very different, wasn't it? But it was very, very creative. And if you think about it, really, that probably was the catalyst for these, cinematic style matches that we get a lot more
100%.
nowadays.
Exactly.
You should get a lot more credit. And like you said, with the Hardys as well, like Jeff Hardy was like one of the first like big name that wasn't released or left over from like the WCW or ECW, like taken over by WWE. Like that came to TNA originally. Obviously, mixed results here and there, but overall, I think his TNA run was pretty good. And they actually did something that I don't think we really saw in WWE ever, and that's heel Jeff Hardy. So I feel like both of them have had their moments in Impact, and they deserve some credit for that as well, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
definitely.
they got the freedom to be more creative, I think, in
Yeah,
Impact.
100%.
And and I think sometimes that's the most important thing. Like you have to let people like have fun with the
Yeah,
characters and do
for sure.
things and try to do things, like you cannot know if something works if you don't try it.
Well said. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I've given my third pick. So Rohit, you've chosen two the same as mine. So this one has to be different, unless it is Abyss.
No, no, it's not because I was speaking about pattern. So obviously, I had a male superstar, I had a female superstar. So now it's gonna be a tag team. But before I do that, I do want to give like two honorable mentions about like two guys that gave like Impact some two wrestlers where people like even Impact isn't good or whatever, apart from AJ Styles, that people want to watch regardless if the product wasn't good or want to see those two. And that was first Sting and then Kurt Angle. Because I feel like they did a lot to give Impact some legitimacy, some star power, and just like leaving WWE or in Sting case at that point, not even going to WWE at all and going to Impact instead or TNA the time. I felt like said something, and like if you want to see Sting again, you have to watch Impact, which was I felt like was quite a bit cool and quite important to the company. But those
Yeah,
like just want to get those two in as honorable mention because I feel like they did some great work for the company and were good to watch. But my final pick, my third choice is a tag team as I just mentioned, and that's the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex
Yeah,
Shelley
oh
and Chris Sabin.
I knew you were going to go for them. I nearly went for them too. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like just because of what they did for the X division itself individually, but then also what they've done as a tag team, and like just all across the board, they've been in multiple eras, apart from maybe like the crappy era that happened, but
well,
they've
yeah.
been in multiple eras,
the crappy
and,
era.
If you
and
look at it now, yeah, Alex
yeah,
Shelley's the current world champion, and Chris Sabin's the X Division champion as we
yeah,
speak.
exactly. And I feel like just like how now they're the veterans, how they help build the company, and now those two are like the established mainstay, probably partly locker room leaders as well. And just like what they've accomplished from like these unknown indie stars, like I never heard of Alex Elliott, Chris Sabin before. Given the opportunity, obviously they worked with Ring of Honor for a bit until they had that political dispute between the two companies, but what they've done in Impact throughout the years, like World Championship, both of them been World Champion, tag team together. They even went to like companies like New Japan and Ring of Honor and all over the world. And
I was
yeah,
pretty
just what they've
sure. I
accomplished.
was pretty sure you were going to go with Beer Money as a tag team.
Yes, they were good too, but I felt like with the recent run, I felt like the machine guns are done more for Impact. I felt
Okay.
like.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I agree, and I think they've done it
more.
over a longer period as well.
Yeah,
The Machine
that's fine.
Guns.
Beer Money would have been the alternative. Or if I want to go throwback to the original main tag team, maybe America's Most Wanted. But I felt like Machine Guns have overtaken both of them in terms of importance. Yes, Beer Money might still be my favorite Impact tag team, like in their time, like not like the established Impact, not like including Team 3D, for example. But like I feel like my list was a bit of like favorites that wrestlers I liked, but also important to the company and the history of the company. So that's why I feel like in that kind of criteria, I think the Machine Guns
So you're
have
saying that your list
overtaken.
is better than us.
Sorry?
You're saying that your list is better than us, than ours.
I'm not saying that. It's still opinionated, of course. But I felt like if you are gonna say that, I have probably watched the most Impact from us guys. So
Yeah, I think so.
You
maybe.
you have, I
Yeah, I
think,
think so.
yeah.
But
For
yeah,
sure.
But I mean, we had two of the same picks, Rohit. So
yeah,
obviously,
exactly.
my list
Again,
is pretty good too.
again, same mind, think love. And like I said, Abyss just missed out. He was like in my top five for sure. So if
Yeah.
we extended that, Abyss would have been on the list.
So,
And yeah,
so which one is your last pick?
my last pick is the tag team. So what I
No, no,
did was
no,
the
no,
mayor.
no,
Good.
not you, Alex.
Oh,
No,
okay. Alex
my last pick was Gail Kim.
was Gail Kim.
Oh,
That's what he talked about.
Rohit stole my thunder.
yeah, two
So
times.
I got revenge for you, Alfonso.
it's always one of you, isn't it? I'm just gonna have to
So,
get all my picks out first next time.
yeah, for sure. So now I have to give my last pick.
Go
Yeah.
on, Alfonso.
And to give my last pick, I'm going to do a rendition of the best theme song ever. So get ready for it.
Okay.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Henry. I believe in Joe Henry. Because they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland, and Canada and Mexico. They say, I believe in Joe Henry. I believe in Joe Henry. I think he's one of the greatest characters ever. His videos are so funny. And I really wish him to come to WWE or AEW. I think he could be
Yeah.
so much fun mixing with all the big stars. And he's very good in the ring also. Like he's a very charismatic guy. And I believe in Joe Henry. Do you believe in Joe Henry?
I do, and I'm surprised WWE have not picked him up yet because I feel like he's like a WWE guy. Like, he's
Exactly.
a great character worker. He's from the UK, so another British star that they got with like the other towns. Because obviously, even though Drew McIntyre is still in and about the main events, like Sheamus isn't getting any younger. Drew McIntyre is getting up there, but not too up there. And I feel like Joe Hendry, while he's not like the youngest, later on is like in his years, but I feel like he's just a WWE guy, really, like that would fit in, and you can have him mid guard if you want to push him as a baby
Exactly.
face,
I
or
think
he's so versatile, he would work.
like right now, apparently Elias is gone from the company.
Mm.
So like there you go. You have your musical act going out, and you get
Yeah.
your musical act coming in as Joe Henry. And
Elias and Impact, I'm having a tag team with Joe Hendry before Joe Hendry leaves.
oh, that will be great. That will be great as well. Because
But
I think you said a fair point. Like WWE needs a new UK guy, like a
yeah,
huge UK guy, and they're never getting Osprey. Well, maybe right now because he's pretty mad about the tattoo on his forearm.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I see
that's
that.
awkward.
I'm surprised he got that at all, to be
I
honest.
think I think what that's one of the funniest videos I have ever seen in the last few days. Like
Yeah,
he was really sad, like really really sad in that video.
I'm not surprised. He'll have to get that lasered off, won't he, or something?
yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, definitely could be a shout, Alfonso. Yeah.
And I have to give an honor pick to
Go. Okay.
the great Okada with the shittiest run ever in TNA history.
Yeah, but if you think about it in an indirect way, yeah,
Okay.
Impact helped create AEW
Oh my god. Why?
because Okada was an excursion at Impact. he made friends with the Young Bucks, which made Okada bring the Young Bucks into New Japan, which obviously made them go into Bullet Club. They met Kenny Omega and Hangman and Cody eventually, and everything happened in New Japan, which then led into All In and then into AEW. So technically, Okada created AEW. Impact
Oh,
created
to be
AEW.
honest, to be
You're
honest,
welcome.
no. You know who created AEW?
Go on.
Triple H. You want to know why?
Go for it.
Because he didn't lend wrestlers to the Jericho Cruise.
Right, come on.
Good
We're not.
point.
Craig's not on this show anymore. We're not blowing smoke up Triple H's ass anymore. Come on.
I love the
alternatively,
holistic view
but
of everything.
yeah, alternatively, Booker T made AEW because he didn't like the way the Young Bucks treated him apparently at a try-in, as a trial. Or what
Oh,
tryout was it? Yeah, tryout there. That's the one I was looking for. Yeah, apparently, even though it was nothing malicious, he didn't like, they didn't greet him or something like that. I think they've made up since, but it was a really weird story, and apparently that like didn't give him any favor points in the tryout, and they didn't make the cut apparently. So,
Young Bucks falling out with people. Where have we heard that one before?
well, yeah, I don't know.
before
Right,
before
guys.
we
Go
go,
on.
Yeah.
I want to make a little segment about the PW 100, or we're going to do another show about it.
No,
I
go on.
think
We can
go
have a
on.
little discussion here now because
Okay.
I've seen it too.
Yeah.
Like I know it's kayfabe because apparently it's
Yeah.
kayfabe because 1 year is very serious, the other year is the funniest shit ever, and this year is the Shield with Roman Reigns only like fighting like 2 times a year, and that's it. And but I really like that they gave the flowers to the Shield, and I think Seth Rollins is a great choice of number one. But
Mhm.
like I think Craig said it, Gunther is the best wrestler right now. Like every single match he has, every single promo he has, he's been killing it.
Completely agree.
And
Yeah.
Mhm.
like to be honest, I'm going to be a little bit selfish. I want Chad Gable to beat him so we can have Gunther face Roman Reigns at some point and just destroy him and become the ultimate boss ever.
So you think Gunther should have been number one?
I don't know. Like it's very hard, but I think Seth
I feel
Rollins
like
is
he
it's
should be
okay as
number
number
two,
one.
personally.
Seth Rollins is a good choice for number one, I think.
He is. I'm
Yeah.
not mad at Rollins, but yeah, and I do like the fact that they did the Shield top three. But in my opinion, I think the top three should have been like number one, Osprey, number two, Gunther, number three, Cody. I
Oh,
feel
you
like
think Osprey number one?
I think so personally.
Oh,
Like
that's controversial, Rohit.
yeah, I feel like his consistent work and his matches all been really good, and I haven't watched like Osprey match either been good or amazing, but I think his work has been really good, and like how he's made the title that he's carrying the US Championship relevant again,
But that
like really relevant.
but
And
that's really
yeah.
controversial because the IC
Mhm.
title has been the most relevant title right now.
100%.
But I feel like
And I
the
think
difference between those two is I feel like Osprey's match quality has been slightly higher than Gunter's. And don't get me wrong,
oh,
It depends. No,
I
yeah,
I'm going to defer there because it depends how you like your wrestling.
yes, it
it's
does.
true.
And
It's true.
I
Exactly. It's
prefer
opinion. Yeah.
all round psychological wrestling, and for me, Gunther has matches
Yeah,
have been better than Osprey's.
for sure. For
And I
sure.
really want
100%. I
and I
can
really
see that.
like
Mhm.
I really like big man slapping meat.
Gunther's very good
Yeah,
at slapping meat, isn't he?
for sure. For sure. And like I said, I wouldn't be mad at it, but it's a joke, really, that he's not even in the top 10. Like, how is Osprey
Oh
not in the
yeah, I
top
agree
10?
with that.
Right?
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
agree with
like I
that
said,
as well.
17.
again,
No,
it's a heck. Like, how is Sonata not even in the top 10? I feel like,
Sa-
yes, he's 11th,
Sonada was
but
number 11, Rohit.
yeah, exactly. I feel like surely with the year he's had and how he's turned around, for some people saying like, oh, he's just not doing anything on the roster, to now people loving him all of a sudden. I'm sure
But
that warrants like
I think it's also very
even
hard.
10th.
Like it's
Mhm.
very hard just to choose the first 100 because it means
For
you have to
sure, for
see
sure,
every single show. And I don't
for
think the
sure.
people that choose the first 100 see every single CML show.
See,
You know?
I agree with that, and I feel like majority of the people that pick mainly watch WWE, and then like recently like AEW, maybe a bit of Impact, and there's a couple of people that watch like New Japan and AAA, CMLL, but I feel like majority is WWE, and you can't see that, which is nothing wrong with that. But I feel like their opinions
I
on
know,
the
but
other wrestlers aren't
like
fair.
what we need as
Mhm.
a wrestling community is to
Yeah,
see the transparency. I would
exactly,
love
and
to see
that's
that.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
one day, just go behind the scenes on how do they choose these
yeah,
100.
and and
Who are the guys voting? Why are the
exactly, I
arguments?
agree. I agree, and that's why we're gonna do a one-stop top 50 at some point, aren't we?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, the PWI is gonna cause arguments and debates every time it comes out. But
Yeah,
yeah, we are gonna do. I think at the end of the year, we're gonna do a one-stop wrestling top 50 of the year.
yeah.
That
Which
that's
is
the
gonna be
goal.
it's gonna be tough to come down to 50, but yeah,
Oh, there's going to
I
be
do.
some arguing and fighting, but we will make a top 50 list for the end
Like
of the year.
Yeah,
we
So
have to come by with a way to do it because
yeah.
for example we can just like everybody choose 100 wrestlers and see the
Mhm.
duplicates, and then from those duplicates create a new list, and then everybody like choose. I don't know, we have to we have to figure it out.
we'll
Yeah.
figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I could
Well,
tell you right now, though, I am open for compromise as always. Like, I'm up for that. Like, honestly, because first of all, I know I would get outvoted in a lot of things, and two, I am open to it because, like I said, I'm not mad at Gunter being number one. I like Gunter. Just for me personally, I think that's Will Ospreay is number one. But
Counter.
again, it's fair. It's fair. Like I said, everyone has their own opinion, and I'm not
If you
mad
don't
at
choose, Gunter as number one, we're going to send Gunter to your house, and he's going to slap.
I think I'd want that to be fair. So
I don't think I will survive if he does that. Like I really think he's going to break me, and that's it, and that's it
I
for
mean,
Alfonso in this life.
I try and make it a viral moment, put it on TikTok and everything,
I don't think us three will be the issue. I think it'll be trying to persuade that stubborn Scotsman, Craig. Anyway, um,
he's gonna say Triple H in his face all the time.
Triple H will end up being number one. But
He'd be
yeah,
the whole top 50, really, wouldn't
so yeah, guys, stay tuned for that one. That will happen
he?
at the
Yeah,
end of the year. We'll wrap it up there for tonight. Impact 1000 carries on next week for all
yeah,
you Impact fans. Go and watch that. Some good matches lined up.
hmm
Team Awesome Kong, Gail Kim is back. Mickey James, big 5-on-5 women's match.
yeah.
Beautiful people are back for that one. Looks like a stacked card. Josh Alexander's back in the ring. So
hmm
yeah, go and watch that one, guys.
Be a fun one. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Rohit Alfonso, thank you so much for the time this evening again,
yeah. No worries. Great
Thank
time
you.
having this. Yeah,
and
as always.
we will see you on the next one.
In Spanish.
Me
Hasta
gusta.
luego.
Hasta luego.
Me gusta.